You know, I think you guys, Alicia and Grace, you've got a bit of a background, Dave. So it's really a bit like, how would you describe it? How would you guys describe it? Maybe Grace, what do you reckon? How would you describe the admin scale, the concept of an admin scale? What's your understanding of it?
I guess it's kind of just like figuring out what you want to be and do in your life. So it's kind of, thinking about what do I actually in my life, and then having goals and plans to get your purpose in life fulfilled, I guess.
Yeah, that's actually really good. How about Alicia? What's your understanding of it?
Yeah, I just feel like it's about clarifying what you actually would like to achieve and setting in place little milestones to get there.
Yeah. Look, I think that's so. I think the reason this is important, it's what'll happen is, and if you've been doing your business, Dave, and you've been ticking along, and things come across your lines all the time. If you don't have this, you sort of have this. You're not very clear if something pops up, whether you should be doing it or whether you shouldn't be doing it, or whether it fits or whether it's going to get you to where you want to go, because you don't actually know where you want to go. These concepts of, I just want to build a business and get income, this is what everyone says, is pretty vague, you know? And so the more clear that we can all be about what we want to achieve, our purpose, our goals, what our scene looks like, the more clear we can be on that, the easier it is to get on and do stuff, because we all got limited resources, we all got limited time, and it's about going from a point A to point B being where you want to end up, whatever that looks like. And what you don't want to do is zigzag it, you know. Oh, I did this, I tried that, I did this, come back here, did this, go back there, it's just tiring. This is really tiring. This is exhausting. And often it's because there's nothing here. There's no destination. There's no plan. There's just like, you know, and when I talk to business owners, I talk to a lot of people in business owners. You know, I talk to a guy who's got a $30 million business, he's turning over, he wants to do this, wants to do that, wants to do that. And I was really funny. I said to him, I go, why are you doing this? And he looked at me and goes, what? I said, why are you doing this? Oh, you know, I'm doing this, we can grow the business, we can do that. No. Why are you doing this? He didn't actually have any clarity. He couldn't actually explain to me why he was doing it. It's all about the business, bigger, more revenue, more sales, more money, blah, 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 blah. He didn't look very happy, you know. So I'm like, it doesn't look like, oh yeah, no, there's things that. So if you don't have this, you can actually get out there and you can succeed and you can make things work, but you can end up resenting it or not really enjoying it, even in spite of being successful. Does that make sense? You can actually love it. You can actually have a really successful business, make good money, do this, and then you just go, oh God, you end up getting trapped. So because when you're doing it, you might as well then design it and create it so that it actually really grooves in for what you want to do. That makes sense. You know, you can do that. You've got that opportunity. So this admin scale, and Alicia, and I might just do this first. So Dave, I don't know if you've seen this. You've probably got some background info from Alicia. You had a pretty good run at it, what you've pulled up, and we'll go through and talk about that a little bit more. I want to go through that. But the admin scale has got these 3 bits. This be, do, have. Grace sort of mentioned that. And so what it's all about, and just think about this currently in the context of personal, not business. Right? So we're not thinking about a business, we're just thinking about personal, right? And so when you look at an admin scale, you know, we've got a goals, we've got purpose, and we've got policy. We call it policy, right? These 3 things describe a beingness. It's what you want to be, who you want to be. And in the context of a business, it's the same. It's a beingness. So you can sort of see how this works, because goals is about what you want to achieve, or what outputs you want to deliver, you know, as an individual. The purpose, think of a purpose as a sub goal It's like a sub-goal. You know? So these are more defined, and if you achieve these, you achieve your goals. And the policy defines what you're prepared to do and not do. It's like, think about it like guidelines, you know? It's not like, I'll make money at all costs. Or, you know, it's like with you, video. If you do your video editing, you're working with clients, there might be things, well, I'm not going to really work with tobacco companies. And, you know, I don't know if you like, you know, but you might go, oh, I'm not interested in doing all video editing, which you probably have. So these become policy. These become guidelines that, and in your own personal life, it's the same. You know, you'll define these policy. But this is all about beingness, yeah? Then the reason we sort of have this, because at the end, we all want to have something. You know, we all want to have something. That's the end. And at the end, we've got these things called the ideal scene, which we've sort of played with a little bit. I'll talk about this a little bit more. We talk about products, VFP, valuable final products. So valuable final products is outcomes. What comes out of your admin skill? What is it that you want as a product? Yeah. And then the final one is some statistics, some stats, which is some numbers, you know. So in a personal one, so if we look at a personal one, I'll do this, we'll play this out a little bit more. But products might be, look, my personal one is a great marriage. I've been married 31 years, 31 years now. So a product for me, my person, is a fantastic marriage. Yeah. Another product is having a great relationship with my kids. Yeah. Another product is, for me personally, is enjoying and loving what I'm doing from a business context. Yeah. These are products. These are outcomes. Yeah. And then statistics could be, you know, you can have income statistics. I want to be earning so much money. You could have assets that you want to have earned. You want to have time. I want to be able to travel 6 weeks every year. I want, you know. So these are new things that you can put numbers on. Does that make sense? So is everyone with me? Everyone getting this picture? Understanding it?
Yeah.
Okay. And so this is really important, yeah? And then, of course, you know, you've got to look at it like this. Goals, purpose, policy. And then in to do, we've got these things called plans, projects, work orders, and it's subsets of these things. And what you end up with, these are all the actions that you'll need to do. What we try to do in this is line these things up. You've got to, you know, so you've got to think about, we do all these components, and then part of this process is lining them up so they all perfectly fit. So if you want to, whatever your goals talk about, your purpose and policy supports it. You're seeing your product line up with it, and what you're doing in here is going to deliver this and this. So, because you can have these and they can be all over the place like this. Yeah, they're not going to work. You know, you can have like, oh, I want to make $1 million. Okay, well, you know, I want to work for charity groups. You know, I want to, you know, if you start looking at these things, if they don't align, it's never going to be possible. So part of the process of creating one is aligning it, going, yep, and it takes a bit of time. It's sort of a bit of a process. This isn't static. It's not like you do one and then you're done. If you look at, I'll share with you, you know, and the guys have seen one. I've got one for Resi Cert. This is the business one. I've got 112 versions of it that I've created. I think I created the first one in 2011. Yeah. I'm just going to share this with you. So just so you can see context of it. I'm not going to go into detail with it. But it's something that's alive. You're into it all the time. You're sort of going back. And if you're going to change direction personally in your own life, if you're going to choose to head off down a path that doesn't really support what, let me do, can you see the screen share? I haven't done screen share, just hang on a tick. If you're going to do something differently, then what I'd be suggesting is that you want to review your admin scale and change it. So it can change, because stuff changes, you know. You might go, I wanted to do that, I've changed my mind, this now fits, but it's probably really important that you align with it. So if you look at, can everyone see my screen? Yeah.
No.
There you go. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see down here, 114 versions. See that?
Wow.
So it's a really, and I can go back and look at every version going back. And so it's a live document. Greta now, who's my GM, she's now sort of taking control of this as a business one, and she's going through and she's got goals, and we've got all that same stuff, exactly same. We've got our plans and we've got the scene, we've got all this sort of stuff. But it's a live document, yeah? It's something that's alive. So the most important part of this is understanding that if you don't, I don't know. I always use this example. I meet some young people and they go, "Oh, what do you want to do?" And they said, "Oh, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a lawyer." Yeah. I want to be a lawyer. Oh, right. Okay. So I said, "Oh, why do you want to do that?" They don't go. They never say, "I want to do what a lawyer does." They never do that. They will say, generally, it's this, right? It's, I want to have what I think a lawyer has. Because if you haven't been in that game, you don't really know. It's all great on TV now, and there's lots of, shows relating to that sort of stuff. So then they have an idea in their head about what a lawyer has, whether it's they earn good income, or whether it's relating to, it seems like a really sexy role. There's lots of great stuff, and there's all this intrigue stuff that happens. I don't know if you know anyone that are lawyers. Do you know people that are lawyers? You guys, yeah, they're generally not having fun. It's not a fun gig, It's like lots of paperwork, it's boring as batshit. I could never do it. It would kill me. And the problem is 50% of the time, typically, you got to think about it like this. You have a dispute. Lawyers are always about dispute. So it's in a very combative, dispute role, It's never positive, You don't go and talk to a lawyer going, this is great. It's always about bad. So every time people come to see you, it's not about good stuff. And half of the time, you're likely to be working for someone who's done something wrong. Half the time. So they get defended, don't they? Because in every case, I'm not saying that, that's always the case. Someone's done someone else wrong. So you don't, like we know with there's criminals who end up doing stuff that's terrible. Someone has to defend them. Make sense? So you're not, so you can choose it. So what happens typically with a lot of people that study law, they end up doing it for a bit and go, oh, wow, I'm not actually on TV. There's not much behind the scenes. There seems to be a lot of paperwork, a lot of reading, a lot of shuffling, a lot of preparing documents. That's all that lawyers do for years and years and years. So then what happens is that I want to be this have idea is actually not real because they don't really understand it, but they don't actually want to do it. And it's, Alicia, I might give you an example of you went and did, when you were looking at the ballet stuff, right? And you were, right into that. So why did you do that?
Because I just wanted to dance every day.
Right, why?
Because I enjoyed it.
Right. So did you want to be a ballerina?
Yeah.
Right. So part of the have bit was I just want to dance. I love joining. So part of the scene is I want to be out there dancing. So why did you stop at the end?
Because I wasn't allowed to dance.
Why?
The way I wanted to, I guess. Because everyone was really mean and they'd beat me up and I didn't have any free time and I was hungry.
Yeah. so what happens is this bit here, right? What you have to do, and it's not what you experience is pretty normal in that space. Yeah. People have to be super committed. You end up with terrible feet, and it's a really tough space, and all that. It's pretty normal, right? And so what you learnt as in a process was, well, actually the do bit doesn't really do it for me. And so as much as I want to have this, I'm not really interested in having that if I have to do this. Does that make sense? Yeah. And so typically then, and we all do that, we go, not really. And the only way you know this is you've got to try this stuff and go, well, not really. And Carissa's really similar. Carissa sort of loves to dance, but she'd never take it to a high level because she doesn't want to do that. She doesn't want to be stressed out. She doesn't want to be, so she does it very much as something she enjoys as opposed to looking at it as a career, as a path, because that's a whole different level. Yeah. Does this make sense? Can you sort of, is everyone online with this? Do you get this? Does this make sense? It's really important you sort of understand this, yeah? Make sense?
Okay.
Cool.
Yep.
So this is basically, you can sort of see why this is very, very, very important before you, and particularly when you start spearing off down a business path. Business, you guys have all done it, right? You've all been, all at different levels have been in business, you've been working at it. So is it always easy?
No.
Do you have regular payments, money in your bank account?
No.
Is it predictable? There's none of these things, is it? So what it is it's so much more difficult than just going and getting a job. When you just turn up, you work these hours, someone gives you money, and you go hella bloody lulia. So because it's so much tougher, and it takes a bit more, there's all these twists and turns. It's more important to have this because when you hit those spots, you need to have a reference that you can go back to and say, this is why I'm doing this. Because if I went and did that, which might make it easier for me and I'd get some regular income and that sort of stuff, is it really going to deliver what I want or what I need? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so I just wanted to do that backdrop. So coming back to the whole idea then is to have, and Grace, this is really important. I'd like you to explore your ideal scene and your admin scale personally would be very different now than a year ago. What do you think? Yeah? What do you reckon?
I'm looking at my personal ideas, and I know for my team, it's quite different.
Yeah, right. And it's actually, there's a lot of stuff that's changing. You've got, Zach come on the scene. He wasn't there before. He's starting to think about other things. So you can see this is really important, yeah? This is actually really, really important now. You're in the midst of a business at the moment. So in order for this to continue to work for you, you need to really clearly map out, really have a lot more clarity around your personal one and really develop that out, because then you can guide and direct and design and unfold the business. So otherwise what will happen is eventually you'll go, I can't really do this because it doesn't do this, this and this, But the whole purpose behind this process is you have the ability to design your own business. Yeah? Just think about it like this. There's no have to do anything in your business. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. It's actually, there's certain things we need to do, but you actually have the scope to design your business. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yep. And so, but if you're going to design it, you need to sort of know what you're designing it to do. Yeah, and I'm not talking about just making money. So an example is a house, right? Just think about a house, right? So when you think about a business, when you think about a house, you don't just turn up on site and there's a block. And you turn up on site one day and you go, wow, there's a great block. I'm just going to start building. So then you get a guy to come and drop some timber and you get some pallets of bricks over here and you get this, you get that, and you just start building. Does anyone do that with a house? Is that how it works? No. So what happens with a house is before you even do that, there's this whole design process. But actually what happens before the design process is what is wanted. So you actually go through and go, I want a house that has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, it needs to have a study, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff, your mum's been going through that process now. What does a house have to do? So this is the whole front bit, yeah? Once you've got that, then you can actually do a design, You're not just getting a design. The design has to deliver an outcome. And then you build it, yeah? And that's what I'm proposing is how you should approach the business. The same way. You should really have what is wanted is your actual personal admin scale, yeah? really important, because the personal admin scale drives the business admin scale. Then once you have that, then you start thinking about how you want to design your business to look. And when I talk about design, I'm talking about could be things relating to location, the ability to do you want to have an office, not have an office? Do you want to be able to work different hours? How you manage your cash flow? A whole bunch of things that actually you can choose. There's actually no rules around how something has to work in a business. You can choose that. But it's nice to know why you're doing something. Because if you go and sit down with, you know, a business consultant or someone, he'll say, oh, this is how you do it, and this is, you know, in an office, and you do this, and you do that, and you do this. And if you meet with people who've been in an industry, they'll got experience, and they'll show you how to do it their way, and this is the way. And then you'll go, oh, this is how you do it. But it might not be good for you or what you're trying to achieve. Because you don't really, it's not really what you want or what you want it to work for you. And as it grows, as a business grows, and there's more demands on it, it's even more important that it lines up. Yeah? Does that make sense? Is it sort of...
Yeah.
Any questions on this?
No.
Okay. All right. So what happens is you've got you and you've got your business. And so these admin scales then, this one here sort of drives the business one. Yeah. So the personal admin scale, and look, there may be components of your business in there, but your personal admin scale drives what the business one looks like. That makes sense, doesn't it? It's pretty obvious. If you don't have a personal one, you're just sort of coming up with a business one, and they can be. Okay, so that's why having this personal one, and that's what we talked about when we connected up last time, Alicia, was the personal one, to really, it needs to sort of evolve out a bit, yeah? And so it's a little bit more wide overarching, yeah? So when you look at your personal ideal scene, and the start point, I always say the start point with these things is to start with the ideal scene, yeah? Yeah, you just got to start with a whole ideal scene, yeah? Now, just some background in how... This seems complicated, right? We're going to do a bit of an exercise in this process now. It seems really complex. It's not that complex, right? The ground rules for creating an ideal scene are there's only two scenes. There's only two scenes, right? There's a current and there's the ideal. Yep. So there's a current scene and there's what we call the ideal scene. So that's an important base to understand. Yeah, there's no other scenes, yeah? And so when you construct your ideal scene, some of the things, what it is there's a series of points. It's not like a blah, 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 blah. I don't like the blah, 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 blah. It's sort of like a series of one or two line comments that describe your scene, your ideal scene in the future as if it's happened and it's taken place. Yeah. So you don't talk about it like I want to. So for example, I'm able to travel comfortably every year for 4 weeks. You don't say I want to travel. You actually write it like it's happened. And then you should be able to do a couple of things. With each comment on this point, you should be able to put a tick on it. Yeah? You should be able to go, yep, I'm getting towards it. And there should be a stat that you can get to validate these points. A number. So it just makes you think about it a little bit. So you can't use grand motherhood statements, you know, like, I want to be, you know, really popular with friends. You know, you can use these statements that you can never validate and you can never tick off because they're just like really broad, fluffy statements. Yeah? Does that make sense? So you want to have they need to be very clear, very specific. You should at some point be able, and if you look at, this is the Resi Cert, here's some examples, the ideal scene for Resi Cert, the current one. you know, we are Australia's leading authority and experts in the property services sector. Yeah. That's a statement. And I wouldn't say we're the leading authority, but it's definitely something that we're heading towards. Yeah. And I can measure that by I can see how many inspections we're doing, how many people we've got on the ground, and comparing that to other people. Does that make sense? We have a paper-free business that has systems which enable things to be dealt with instantly. That's just easy. I mean, I've either got paper or I don't. Yeah? Pretty easy. Do we have paper? We're looking for ways to leverage technology to move things faster. We're recognised as a premier. So you can see these are things that I talk about like it's happening, and it gives us a real guidance. So this is actually, so the components of your scene, does this make sense? To have it like that, numbered?
Yeah.
Yep. And then, now, when you, I don't know, when you do this, right, when you do this process, you go, well, how do I come up with this shit? What is it? What should I put on here? So what I'd suggest you do as a start point is look what's in your current scene, right? Have a really good look at what's in your current scene and then go, is that ideal? Yeah? So if you look at your current scene and just look at your scene, and that can be how you spend your time, who you're hanging out with, where you are, what your income is. You know, it can be anything in your current scene, and then you've got two. You've got ideal, not ideal. Okay? Yeah? There's only two things, ideal or not ideal. Does that make sense? Yeah? So then, of course, if they're ideal, then you whack it on here and you define it. Because you don't want to lose that, yeah? Because there will be things in your current scene that are ideal. So then you go, well, what are they? So try to articulate those and stick them on here. And you might adjust them, you might tweak them a bit, yeah? If they're things that are not ideal, well then what does it need to look like for it to be ideal? Yeah? Am I making sense? Does it really? And we're going to do this. I'm going to break the board up, and I'm going to work. I want each of you to. We're going to build this out a little bit. Have a start point, right? So this is a start point. But the thing that is really hard to put on your ideal scene is what's missing, right? It's really easy to look at a current scene and pick things that aren't right. It's much harder to think about what's missing, what's not there. Yeah? Because you have to actually sort of... So an example I always say is like you look at a nightclub, a disco. I know you guys don't go to discos. In our day we went to discos. I didn't go to many. They're really dull. Now, if you go into a nightclub, let's call it a nightclub, and over here, and this is a scene, right? And over here, there's a cot with a little weenie baby in it. Yeah? Is that ideal? What do you think?
No.
Nah. It's pretty obvious, isn't it? You'd look at it and go, yeah, there's a bit too much loud music, there's a whole bunch of alcohol going around the place, there's stuff going on. It's not ideal. So that's really obvious, isn't it? You can actually walk up and you go, well, that's ridiculous. So you would take the cot out. You'd remove it from that scene, wouldn't you? But then, what if there's something missing? What if there's something missing in this scene? You have to actually, and you have no knowledge of that. Like, you could go in there and go, wow, you know, it'd be really cool if there was something that could bounce lights all around the place or make this a bit different. So what if you didn't know what a mirror ball was, right? What if you had no idea about what a mirror ball was? But imagine if you went, wow, this thing needs a mirror ball. But if it's not there and you had no idea about what a mirror ball is, you don't know, you know. You can't go, oh yeah, there's a mirror ball that's missing there. You only know that. So working out things that are missing are much harder in your scene as well. That takes a little bit of thinking, you know. That really, you have to challenge yourself. Yeah? So, but this is definitely the start point.
Yeah.
So does that make sense? So the steps are, we want to have a bunch of numbers. You want to be able to tick them off. You talk about it in the context of It's happened in the future. Start with your current scene. Look at what's ideal, what's not ideal, and then use those as a way of mapping this out. Yeah? But then think about what's missing. Okay? So let's have do you want to have a crack at that? Can we have a crack at that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so we'll do this. We're not going to build out, but what I want to do, is everyone happy to share their content of their ideal scene?
Yeah, I personal.
Yeah, the personal one. We'll start with a personal one, right? So what I want to do, right, we'll do one each, right? This is how we're going to tackle this for now. I haven't done this like this before, so it's a bit of a trial and error process, right? So hopefully this makes sense and it works well, you know. Okay, so got Ali, got Dave, got Grace. Okay, so what I want then is we're just going to start. This is a personal ideal scene, right? So, all right, give me one, Ali. Personal ideal scene. Give me one.
I'm present and engaged in the situations I find myself in.
So what was that again? I'm
present and engaged in the situations I find myself in.
Present and engaged. I am present and engaged in situations I find myself in. I'm present and engaged in situations I find myself in. So, and I guess what that means is you want to not be somewhere else. Is that what you're talking about? You don't want to. You want to be somewhere.
I don't have to work. I'm just be present.
Okay. So this is a presence one. So I'd really like to, a comment like that. I'd really like for you to think about how you can. Is there a way that you can go like this? How could you sort of, if you look back over that and say 2, 3, 4 months, is there a way that you can go, yeah. So maybe have a think about how could you change the content in here. So, yeah, do you know what I mean? It's sort of, I get what you're trying to say.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
So how can you say that, because if you're not present, does it mean, so why do you want to be present? Why?
I guess I just maybe I should say it more I have good administrative practices in place so that my mind has to be
right. Okay, so this is really important. So you want to be present, but it's probably looking at behind the why and then articulating it. So what you just said there, which was, for example, I have admin and systems in place. So my headspace is clear or something along those lines, Because then you can tick that off, can't you? You can go, oh yeah, I've got admin, I'm not stressed. Does that make sense? So
yeah.
So think about your content. All right. So if you give us one, Dave, I'm just going to move across. So what have you got, Dave? Give us one on your. This is a personal one.
Well, I wanted to be able to still play music. I wanted to be able to have time to play music.
So I have time to play music. Yep. Okay, so let's look at how we do make this more specific. Do you want 3 minutes? Just 3 minutes a week? Is that enough?
No.
No. Okay. So how can you make them more specific? So you might say, how could you change that so that you could actually make it more specific?
Yeah, I guess I have to be able to have a rehearse with the group to play with.
Yep.
And I need some time to practice and write.
So how many hours a week would that be? How many hours a week would that be? To do it properly and so you really get value out of it and you enjoy it?
Maybe 4.
4.
4
So
hours, yeah.
So then you could say, for example, I have at least 4 hours a week to play and be involved in music. Yeah. And see, that's a lot easier to measure, isn't it? You know, because then you can, you know, you've got rehearse points and you can look at it, and you can actually look back over the last week and go, yep, I did that. And you can also, I don't know what you do, but the way I organise my personal life is if I want to do something that's non-business, I put it in, I'm a bit of a calendar nut. I stick it in my calendar. Like, you know, if I hang out with Dante, I go hang out with Dante, and then I can actually, it's like an activity. So that's a good one. I like that. But you can just see, instead of saying I have time, I have 4 hours at least. Because if it was more, you'd go, that's cool. But I have at least 4 hours per week to play music. Yeah? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So, Grace, give us one on yours.
Okay.
What's happened for you?
Having the business operate smoothly and being present.
Yeah, that's...
but only love.
What's that? Say again.
Being present in the workplace, but only doing the things that I love.
Sorry, I missed that, Grace. Give that to me again.
Having the business operate smoothly, being present in the workplace, and only doing the things that I love.
Okay, so that's good. So, is this a personal one?
Yeah.
Okay, so so having a business operate smoothly, a bit vague, doesn't really, you know. So you sort of have to. So potentially, what that means is, I think it might mean similar to what maybe something along the lines of, you know, all my admin and process stuff. I've got great systems and processes in place, so all that runs like a machine, you know. So, and then the ability, and then a second one that you had, I'd break that up is actually I spend, you know, a comment can be every day I'm only spending time on doing things that I like to do. Yep. So, for example, you know, you can tell, you look last week and you go, oh, I did that, I did this, I don't love that. So you're always moving, just remember you're moving towards it. It's not like, it doesn't happen like that. You've got to move towards it, right? So the comment I would talk about, that first one would be, you know, comments like running smoothly. It's really vague, you know.
Okay.
I don't know what that means. So how can you articulate that a bit clearer? And then, you know, being present. Yeah, go on, Grace.
I guess, yeah, having like systems in place, it's like it just gets done, you know, and you don't really have to worry about it. It's just like, you know, every Tuesday you go through all the finances, you've got, you know, this and your deliveries on a certain day and everything.
Yep. So you don't have to make it too detailed, but it needs to be specific, yeah? And so, and then you talked about the present one, which is sort of a little bit about what Ali talked about as well, was, you know, I want to be present, or I want to, and so you want to articulate that really clearly, yeah? So give us another one, Ali.
Yeah.
Give us another one. Just coming over here now.
The next one was, I'm living in an environmentally conscious way.
All right. Right, living in an environmentally conscious way. Okay. Look, I guess you can. I mean, that, you know, I guess, you know, that is something I think that you can, you know, so that might, and you know what that means. It means, for example, you're not, you know, flying around all the place, driving a car, transporting lots, using lots of waste, you know. So that is definitely something that you can, and then you can look back at things. So that's definitely a good one. Makes sense. Dave, have you got another one? That's good.
I keep things that are probably more like business related. I haven't really thought about my personal one.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, right? So, and this is the challenge, right? This is what I want you guys to do, is I want you to work on a personal one, yeah? The statement you made is really, you can just see why this is so important, right? Because you've got your business one, so you almost have to put the business one in the drawer for now. Just like put it in the drawer and really think about your personal one. Yeah. It's actually not that easy to do, right? It's not that easy. It's not like
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. It's not that easy, right? So, but it actually is so important to do this. So maybe give us. This is music, okay? What about think about something else personally? Just what else? Think about time. Think about place. Think about other things that you're doing, things that you don't want to do. Just maybe one other.
Well, yeah, I mean, I only really wanted to work 4 days a week, I think, but I didn't know if that was a bit on a personal.
No, that's actually that is a personal one because what that sort of relates to is that it is a personal one because so it means that want to work 4 days a week. That's actually absolutely a personal one. So that's saying so you can measure that really simply. You can actually measure that. You can decide that. So that's definitely a personal one which you can look back on. You can tick off and you can say I'm doing that. Can you see how? If and that sort of supports this one a little bit. You want to have some time to do that. You might, they sort of relate to each other. So that's good. What's another one, Grace, that you've got?
Have bought, renovated, and sold first house and buying the second one with less mortgage.
Right.
Not even buying. That's not my ideal scene.
Okay. All right. That's really interesting, right? That's not a scene. That's a plan, isn't it? That's a plan. So why do you want to do that?
Just because it just sets you up and you get your own place and you don't have to worry about bloody people coming through your house.
Okay. So how do you describe that? See, that's a means to an end, isn't it? You don't actually want to go. If someone just turned up to you and said, "Look, here's 400 grand, go for it," you'd go, "Oh, forget about that. I'm just going to go and buy a house," wouldn't you? It's the outcome, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the ideal scene is what is it? I want to have my own place. What? So just the outcome of that process. How would you describe that?
What do you mean?
Well, what
Like, what is the ideal outcome?
what's the outcome of doing that?
I guess just having your own place and being, I don't know, how I don't know.
I have my own place. And what did you say about mortgage? What did you say? I have my own place.
Yeah, and just, I don't know,
You say you're on your
yeah, just so I get my own place and have somewhere to live. I don't know, I hadn't really thought about that.
No, but you see, this is important, right? This is why it is important because you want to have your own place. You talked about, you can buy a place, you can renovate. So you might say, for example, you can be quite specific. You might say, I have my own place that suits my needs and I have a mortgage that I'm comfortable and can be managed But how you might get there is exactly how you describe it. That becomes a plan in your personal admin scale. On your plan, you go, okay, what I want to do is buy a house, do some renos, do this. That's a plan, yeah? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and that's why I just asked you, why do you want to do that? So, I have my own place. Maybe you might talk about a mortgage level in a location. You might even say, I want my own place in a specific location. And you might describe this a little bit more, All right, so look, does everyone get this? Are you sort of getting the feel for this stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'd like you guys to do is to actually have a crack at doing a personal admin scale, right? Between now and next week. Actually do a personal admin scale. Yeah. I know you've been working on yours, Alicia, which is good. And so when you you shared it with me as well, didn't you?
Yeah. And I've also put it. I put it in the base camp as well now. But I shared it with you a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Okay. I'll come back to you with some comments on that, which would be good. So maybe the way to do this, guys, is to does everyone use Google Drive? Use Google Drive? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So just create a folder. Maybe call it. I just call it maybe call it the mentor of the. I just call this the YBO group, the Young Business Owners Group, or I've tried to come up with some. If you say it quickly, it's a YBO group. So the YBO group, you know. So maybe just create a folder and just start putting stuff in a folder there and just share it with us, yeah. So at this point, just start a page, do that. I preferred it. I think it works better in a Word doc format. Like instead of you can use a spreadsheet, but I think it works better in a Word doc. So just focus on the ideal scene bit for now, yeah, because that's probably the crux of this. So and it needs to be really personal stuff. And so maybe to give you some clues, if I look at my personal admin scale, I'll just share my personal one with you. Base camp. Just say, I'll do my ideal scene so you can see it. You know, I did a bit of I do an annual review of it. It doesn't change a lot, my personal one, but we always do an annual review. So if you look at my ideal scene personally, okay, so, you know, doing what I love to do every day. Yeah. So it's pretty easy to go, am I doing, you know, if I look back each week and I'm going, so I can continually look at what I don't like. And the way I sort of tackle that in my life is that if it's stuff relating to the business stuff, then I just get someone else to do it, you know. So I need to grow the business. I need to make enough money. What that means is I need to make enough money in the business so I can employ someone to do stuff I don't like. That's why you end up getting stuck doing all that. It's really that simple, you know. You know, if you don't want to do it, you've got to get someone else to do it. Unless you've got slave labour, you've got people that do it for free, then you need to make money. You know? What's that? What was that?
I didn't say anything.
Oh.
I said that's why mum's too handy.
Exactly. It's not. Anyway, so that's good. And then the second one is I got a happy, fulfilling, a long marriage to my wife, beautiful wife, Robin. Yep. So that's good. We have a pretty good relationship. Able to assist and help Rob, that's my wife, on her path and what she chooses to do. So I've been working with her on some stuff she's trying to do. She's doing a colour design stuff. Part of that was to sort of get her out of doing stuff in the business that she didn't really like. You know, this is a really important one to me, able to spend quality time with people, the most important. I mean, we spend all our time in life doing stuff, and then all the people we want to hang out with, we can never hang out with them. It's just terrible. So I want to spend time. I can help my kids on their path. Yeah, so whether it's Tessa doing stuff or Carissa, do I have the time and the headspace and the ability to help them, which is really good. Not involved in day-to-day business activity or process. Yeah, which I'm not, you know. I'm not actually involved in my business day-to-day. Money flow and requirements are handled. You know, I don't have this. I'm not thinking about, oh my God, have I got income coming in next week, you know. So money sort of flows handled. Always involved in new business and expanding businesses, which is really cool. So this is part of what I'm always looking at, new businesses. You know, you guys are building businesses, new businesses, so I quite like that, you know. And fitness is a really big one for me as well, having a really high level of fitness. Otherwise you can't do anything, you know. It hasn't really changed much, you know. And then when I look at my own, and then we look at goals, when I look at goals, you know, this is about beingness, right? So one is about being a spouse, a really good spouse. Another one is about being a really good father. These are beingness ones. Another one is about being a great, you know, being a business owner. These are beingness, aren't they? The next one is to have a level of income. So I want to have a minimum of 50K a month in passive income. So this is about an income level. Another one is to help others build profitable and sustainable business, but not just for the sake of it, but as a result, improve their quality of life. Yeah, that's a goal. And then be an inspirational and positive role model for others, you know. So they're my goals. And you can see how they're all about a beingness. Does that make sense? They're about a beingness stuff.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the purpose, and we'll touch back, you know, when you look at purpose, then how do I achieve those? Well, if I build my business, now you can sort of understand this a little bit. If I can achieve these purposes, I'll automatically achieve my goals. So build a ResiCert into a great, long-lasting, creating an ideal business model. Yep. Help as many people as possible have the highest control over their lives. Will that help me get my goals? Yep. I know I need to use technology, doing outsourcing to create a really good business model. I know we need to do that today in order to do that. Using what I've done, roll out the FMP. This is this new business model that I've got, and roll out this InvizBiz. So if I do these things, I will automatically achieve my goals. They're linked. Does that make sense? All right.
Mm-hmm.
That's 9:31. Okay, guys. So so maybe if we do a bit of a closeout session on that. So just a round closeout. Go for it.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? Just go, okay, just close
Yeah.
out. What did I get from the session? Was it was
Thanks,
terrible?
Paul.
No, I mean, just feedback. For me, it's useful to get feedback. Didn't understand any of it, makes no sense. So give me a bit of a closeout. It
No,
was
it was
useful,
good.
I get it, So just one
It's
by
good.
one, just do a bit of a closeout session. So good for me to get some feedback. Go.
It was good. Good to sort of think about like more broadly for my personal one, and put something that's a bit more measurable on it. Yeah, it's good. Helps me work it out a bit.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good. I can be quite detail oriented, the big picture, and my favourite thing that I've heard is vision gives pain a purpose. Really boring
Yeah.
as the bean. I'll be like, there's a light at the end of it.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, it's really important, isn't it? That's great. Dave?
Yeah. I guess I didn't realize how much I'd blended my personal life with my business life. So I guess it's going to be, I really need to go through and just separate those a bit more and identify like what it is in my life that I want versus what I'm trying to do with my business, I guess, and but also like have them work together a little bit.
Yeah, that's important. That's important. All right, well, that's cool, guys.
Yeah.
Let's call that a wrap. I'm trying
Thank
to.
you.
Fantastic, and then I'm sort of moving next week. I'm not really sure what my movements are next. I'm sort of in Melbourne or Sydney Thursday. I'll put it into the calendar for the same time slot next week. It should be able to work, so I'll stick it in the calendar for now. I'll be on the East Coast, and then if something comes up and it gets all thrown around, then I'll let you guys know, and then it'll just roll back to the next week. I'll be back. Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
No worries. Have a good week. If you need anything, just ping us, and we'll touch base next week. Ciao, ciao.
Thanks, Paul.
No worries.
See ya.
Ciao, ciao.